The history of the United States is a rich and complex tapestry that spans centuries, beginning long before the arrival of European explorers. Here is a concise overview of key events and periods in the history of the USA. Pre-Columbian period Native American civilizations. Long before Europeans arrived, various indigenous cultures, including the ancestral Puebloans, Mississippians, and Iroquois, thrived across North America. These societies developed diverse and complex cultures, economies, and political systems. Exploration and colonization, 1492–1763. 1492. Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas marks the beginning of European exploration. Early 1600s. The first permanent English settlement was established at Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. The Pilgrims settled at Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1620. Colonial era. Throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, European powers, primarily England, Spain, and France, established colonies along the Atlantic coast, in the South and the West. Revolutionary period, 1763, 1789, 1765, 1783. Tensions between the American colonies and Britain led to the American Revolution. Key events included the Boston Tea Party, 1773, the Declaration of Independence, 1776, and the Revolutionary War, 1775–1783. 1783. The Treaty of Paris officially ended the Revolutionary War, recognizing American independence. 1787. The United States Constitution was drafted, establishing the framework for the federal government. Early Republican expansion, 1789–1849. 1789. George Washington became the first President of the United States. 1803. The Louisiana Purchase doubled the size of the country. 1812–1815. The War of 1812 was fought between the United States and Britain, solidifying American independence. 1820s, 1840s. The era of manifest destiny saw westward expansion, including the annexation of Texas, 1845, and the Oregon Trail migration. Civil War and Reconstruction, 1861, 1877, 1861, 1865. The Civil War was fought between the Northern States, Union, and the Southern States, Confederacy, over issues including states' rights and slavery. 1863. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing slaves in Confederate states. 1865. The Union victory ended the Civil War. Lincoln was assassinated shortly after. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. 1865–1877. Reconstruction aimed to rebuild the South and integrate formerly enslaved people into society. The 14th and 15th Amendments granted citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. Industrialization and Progressive Era, 1878–1914. Late 1800s. Rapid industrialization transformed the economy, leading to urbanization and significant immigration. 1898. The Spanish-American War resulted in the U.S. acquiring territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. Early 1900s. The Progressive Era saw reforms aimed at addressing social, political, and economic issues, including labor rights, women's suffrage, and antitrust laws. World Wars and the Great Depression, 1914–1945, 1917–1918. The U.S. entered World War I, contributing to the Allied victory. 1920s. The Roaring Twenties was a period of economic prosperity and cultural change. 1929. The stock market crash led to the Great Depression. 1930s. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal aimed to address the economic crisis through government intervention. 1941–1945. The U.S. entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The Allies' victory led to the U.S. becoming a global superpower. Cold War and Civil Rights Era, 1945–1991. 1947–1991. The Cold War between the U.S. and the Soviet Union dominated global politics, including conflicts like the Korean War, Vietnam War, and the space race. 1950s, 1960s. The civil rights movement, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., sought to end racial segregation and discrimination. Key achievements included the Civil Rights Act, 1964, and the Voting Rights Act, 1965. 1969, the U.S. landed the first man on the moon, a major Cold War milestone. Contemporary era, 1991, present, 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, ending the Cold War. 1990s, the U.S. experienced economic growth, technological advancements, and globalization. 2001, the September 11th terrorist attacks led to the War on Terror, including wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. 2008, Barack Obama was elected as the first African-American president. 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic significantly impacted the U.S. and the world. The Black Lives Matter movement gained prominence following the killing of George Floyd. Conclusion. The history of the United States is characterized by a continuous struggle for freedom, equality, and prosperity. Its development from a collection of colonies to a global superpower reflects the resilience and dynamism